Good morning. Welcome back to Flow Sessions. Today, we are looking at some trades that we actively took last night, as well as keeping an eye on and update on some of these daily EQs that we're watching on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptos. So we have 3 trades open right now. We caught a nice, it was not the easiest, but we got some longs last night on SUI, AVNT, and YB, as well as Aster. Aster's not on the challenge account, but that one's up nicely on another spot account. So looking at the challenge account here, YB was our strongest bouncer at 31%, and now we're looking for some controlled follow through on that setup. SUI, we are watching for a lower high confirmation after yesterday's basing. We did take the lows again, but we're seeing if we can flip the MAs and create an hourly trend. And AVNT had a solid grind recovery, and we're looking for continuation on this 4-hour EMA rider. But let's start out with Bitcoin, and then we'll dive further into those charts. I just been really wanting to go over psychology as well, and saying, what is the market saying right now? The market is always speaking to you. So you choose to listen, or you choose to put the blinders on, So when we look at Bitcoin on the daily, I really want to make sure during these analysis I do a top-down analysis to start. And on Bitcoin here, with everything gone, we have this big megaphone, and we're essentially consolidating, not truly above this, but near the highs. We had this channel I was watching that has held for many times, and now we're below it, kind of testing it as resistance again here. But I know if we put our indicators on, I think we have the battle of the MA200, which a lot of people put a lot of weight on, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, on the daily MA200, is there a reason to put weight on? Has it ever bounced cleanly off the MA200? In 2023, one time, near the bear market bottom. At 19,000, it bounced cleanly off it, but any other time, it goes right through, has to battle for a few weeks, and then continues on. So it's like, is that even something to put a lot of merit in, or is it something other people put merit in? I'm not particularly, I know it's there, but it's not like a make or break it level for me, because in the past it hasn't been. So why treat it that way? So starting to really just want to look at these charts with nothing on them to just get an idea where we're at and what the price has done. And on the daily, we're in a daily downtrend, and we're tightening up in this daily equilibrium right here on Bitcoin. So you have high, low last night around 106,659, and now we're trying to get back towards the top of this. But more locally, 4-hour. This crazy chop after giving back this entire move and then some. So now we're looking to establish a trend again or continue sideways. So I just want to keep that aware when I'm entering these all positions, that we're not in a trending market right now. We are in a tightening balance kind of market right here with the daily equilibrium. So if we're taking entries, we can't expect that if we're just trying for an hourly high or low, it's the most likely scenario, because really what's happened is we haven't got trends. We've gotten moves up, moves down, and choppy sideways action. So until that changes, it's kind of more of the same. That said, we can look for, if things were to shape up, like if we were looking for an hourly high or low, how are a few ways that could happen. And sometimes it's like a falling wedge, or sometimes we have a bear break with no follow through. There's ways that we get clues that an hourly high or low is shaping up, but right now that's what we're hoping is some continuation. A lot of times we just drift towards the lows again, and QQQ is really key here too. And QQQ is getting a little bounce. We had a 5-minute stair step off the open. I'm going to pull it up here. My internet's being really slow today. So, you know what? I'll just drag it over so we don't waste time because I have it on another screen. This is just the middle tile of my 3 tiles on my super ultra wide monitor. So, see, 5-minute stair step off the open, stair step broke. Now we're looking for a healthy 5-minute higher low for some continuation since we got the hourly trend change here. Really, this is where bulls want to hold. This is 382, like I was saying, for a potential cup and handle. So you have down, you make the cup, and you break to new highs is what the bulls want to see. So we'll see if we can hold these levels on QQQ and grind up towards new highs. I know Tesla had earnings yesterday. I know some other names had some moves, and it's kind of musical chairs this week on the broader market. So crypto doesn't know what the hell to do. It's kind of just, you can tell it's all over the place, you know. That said, I am playing some newer names of strength. Let's start with those, then we'll go back to SUI. Let's go to AVNT first. I'm just dragging it over here. And AVNT, it was a 4-hour EQ, broke bull with no follow through, then headed back to the 4-hour EMA, and I entered here. Nice position overnight. Right now on that position, yeah, I sold some here, and I think we're riding, yeah, I sold a good amount there. And if I go into that, yeah, we're only left with 250 AVNT now, and the position initially was, I want to say 750, something like that. So you can see on the bottom of the stream here, we're at realize of like 26 bucks in that position. So it's one of those things where you want to see some expansion. You want to see this be in ascending triangle and get another big leg up to around here, you know. But that doesn't really happen until it happens. So right now we're just showing on partial position, and we'll see how this chart continues to shape up. On surf score, we got 48, which is pretty decent coming off the bottom because of this big move down after we were playing this 8-hour EQ up here that broke bull with no follow through. There was a short right there. 231, rode all the way down. I think it was like a 12-hour EMA rider. Yeah, so it never got above the enclosed above 12-hour EMA. So actually we could do the 8-hour because the 8-hour was the EQ we were watching, and it was the rider on the way up. So once that flipped and tested again as resistance, well, it's just clean on the way down all the way. And then now it's flipping and trying to hold the support. So I still like the 8-hour, I mean, on this name particularly. But we gave back a lot of the initial listing pump here. We look at the amount right to the golden pocket here. So more than 50%. So really looking for a weekly lower high here eventually. But some relative strength short term with the, you know, I'm going to the 8-hour now. I was watching the 4-hour because it was holding, but the 8-hour gives a clearer picture, larger time frame, and it could be kind of an EQ here on the 8-hour too. So small position there. We're gonna keep an eye on that one. And YB was my, I guess, the biggest winner percentage wise. You know, not particularly monetary wise, but what are we at? We're at $87 realized, $13.78, and that kind of helped our challenge bounce back a little bit because we were trying to catch these yesterday on these alts. We were trying to catch these bottoms, and in here, let me go to main chart here. So we're hoping this kind of to be the daily EQ we were watching. Yeah, this is on SUI. For example, a lot of alts are like this. You have the high, low, and we're looking to get in here on the low in a tightening equilibrium. Smaller position, and then once that breaks, then we're able to get confidence in adding. But on this, what happened was, I think I tried to get positioned here. Just was trying too tight again and using just too tight stop losses instead of small position and looser stop losses with invalidations of the pattern. So that's an adjustment I've made. Now we have the idea of a hourly inverse head and shoulders on SUI. So really just need to get above this yellow line, which also has an SMA. I think it's the 15-minute SMA 3-tap here. So off the open, volatility expected. This was like a 2000 SUI position down here, took 1500 off here, went to bed, and the 500 rode up here. So we took profit on that this morning. And now we're seeing if we can get this kind of hourly head and shoulders, or we're going to continue to chop around and head back down towards the lows. Either one's fine. I think I have a stop loss in that. I have a little position, almost as a reminder position, not really anything substantial, almost just to remind myself I have a position with a stop somewhere down here, and it's like $5 or something risk. So we just had that open as a reminder that what we're watching for is this hourly head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders kind of deal shaping up. See if there's any more clues on any other time frames that this EQ could be the bears could be losing any strength. And we hit daily oversold twice. We could come down for our 3-tap 1, 2, 3 model 1 accumulation right here in part of a bigger, almost monthly EQ. But that hasn't happened yet, but it's also a possibility to come down, take the lows again, get to 4-hour oversold again down here like 222, and that's the bullish entry, because that would create wave wise. We have money starting to decrease as well as volume decreasing. So we're looking for an expansive move, but we want to see either something get it back above here, or we take the lows again in something like this. And then these bear breaks are lacking follow through, and we almost get a falling wedge plus a Model 1 accumulation entry. Yeah, on the weekly, trying to hold weekly support here. So that's a pretty key area, this yellow line especially. On the weekly, we're showing big expansive move up on the flow indicator. Then we had tightening. Now we're flipping everything. We actually have pressure larger right now here than here. So that's a little bit of divergence. All indicators are pretty flat. Sure, we look at Bollinger Bands, are probably tightening up too, because you can tell from all this expansion. I mean, all this sideways here. I mean, you can also look at it as this weekly EQ broke bearish already. This was the weekly EQ. We had the EQ. We kind of tried to tighten up here on like almost a cup and handle, and didn't get a move to all-time highs. So caution could be warranted there. So a few options here for SUI, and we just need to come up with a plan that if this happens, we do this, So we're not just trying to enter in random spots. We're entering in spots that make sense for a trade thesis. If we go into YB, it's not loading. Let's try to load this again. Try to load it from scratch here. I don't know why TradingView is so slow today. YB USDT. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we saw this yesterday, this 4-hour, and the EMAs flipped green for the first time. I got an entry at 39 cents, 39.11 it was. I think it was 39.11. Yeah, right here. And I think it was 15. It wasn't quite 15 oversold, but it was this kind of falling wedge down here. Yeah. So I noticed this 5-minute SMA has been holding resistance, flips green, support right above here. So I made an entry right in here. And then we'll get this nice move up overnight. Took 80% of profit this morning right here. So it made this move overnight. I was still sleeping. This all happened. And then I took profit right here, 80%. Set a trigger above here if price were to go back up here, I was thinking this could be double top. Then I want to get back in on half size on a breakout play. So we're back. That was initially a 500 YB position. I took 400 off here. And then once we popped above 50 cents, it was triggered to add another 200. So now we're at 300 YB position with $87 realized, $13 unrealized. And it's been just a strong bounce off the bottom after it's a new listing name. So these things bleed, and then they start going, and we'll see if we can establish trends. 4-hour uptrend right now. Daily needs a trend change. 12-hour needs a trend change. We're just taking it one time frame at a time. And right now, we're in hourly oversold historic because there's no price history. This name launched on the 11th, so it is only about 13 days old, but we are getting a decent bounce on it. The next area of interest would be right here at 52. So I'm going to set an alarm there at 52. And we're going to keep an eye on that. Reasons that we would want to get out. If we lose the hourly uptrend, I would say. That's a volatile name, obviously. I mean, this thing went up since my entry 27%. So I'm almost tempted to take some off here now and then wait for 5 or 15 minute 5 oversold for an hourly high or low maybe, or watch this EMA, see how that reacts. But I don't want to be left with nothing if we keep going, so I'm actually going to chop this position in half right now. Just because we have stuff realized, and there's no reason to really be in that right now when it's extended like that. So yeah, I just chopped half of it right now. And we have a 150 position. 150 at 49 cents is only a $73 position on this right now. So it's almost a reminder position. We want to look for the continuation play to see if we can go a little higher with it. But we got a nice move off the bottom, so we want to capitalize on that as well. Did I look at AVNT? Yes, I did. I looked at SUI and other things with SUI here are I'm watching SUI BTC and SUI ETH. And SUI BTC was looking for this daily Model 1 accumulation down here, which could make sense. For a kind of weekly. We are breaking down here, so not the best proximity to be kind of consolidating underneath a breakdown, showing weakness here on SUI. So I guess I'm scalping it, but also keeping the bigger picture in mind. But no action until we flip this $2.47 zone. So we're gonna wait there on SUI and just try not to get back a lot of the profit that we got overnight, because I think it was like $150 or something like that. So New York's been New Yorking, and so we don't want to trade when the volatility is least and there is more messy price action. You see, look at these New York sessions, they're all in blue. We had a full round trip. We had bleed out nothing day yesterday. Today we're consolidating in a tight range. And QQQ, what's QQQ do down to that 5? Yeah, so QQQ at the 5 minute, it's getting kind of what bulls want to see, is not going right back down to lower day right off the open. So first hour, decent trading there. Bitcoin dominance, I know, is on the rise. Yeah, dominance is on the rise. This is all this could be taken, you know, under here, something like this for all bulls, but we don't know where that's going to happen, so we're letting the trend develop and tell us, but it's kind of accelerating here. I have an alarm set on there, so I'll leave that. And I know people like Ben Cohen are just saying it keeps going higher and higher and higher, and they, you know, could be way above 60% here. We could be up here before we get any kind of reversal. So not going ultra heavy, but have some positions in spot alts. So those are our main trades that we're looking at, just to recap here on Bitcoin. Sloppy EQ here, looking to establish at least a 4-hour trend, looking for an hourly higher low first as an actionable item to get that bounce going. So that would be confirmed here. So we're setting an alert there. And then everything else that we always go through is just still at support right on this trend line here. On total, ETH dominance, kind of weak. Still could, we're 8 weeks now into the EMA 12 on the weekly. I just want this 12.5% level to hold on ETH dominance. It also just makes more sense to trade Bitcoin. Total 2, under resistance, consolidation. Still have this range going on USDT dominance between 5.26 and 3.96. So we're watching that. Bitcoin gold ratio bounce underway. Now a nice 4-hour EQ. Look at that. So let's set alerts on the EQ. If that breaks bullish or bearish, that will tell us how the strength, which asset class is having strength. Because I know that I believe gold was trying to get a bounce going today. Let me look at GC on my other screen. I'm not going to pop it on here, but just look at quick. Yeah, so it's trying to get a bounce going. Needs a 4-hour trend change. We are above the EMAs here. We did hit the 4-hour back burner there. It's either going to be a sucker punch to new highs, or we look for a lower high in here to short. So I'm going to set some alerts at like 4,300 for gold and see the reaction if we get up there. And Ethereum, we didn't look at, did we? I'm going to look at that quick on our screen here. It's still a daily EQ potential. And bulls got to get going today or tomorrow, really, for this. If we head back down towards these lows, it raises the odds that it's going to break bearish, So we want to see 3,700 hold. If that breaks bearish, I would look down to 33.74 and potentially anywhere in here for a monthly higher low. Could be down to 3,000, could be down to 2,600. There's a few areas, but a bit of a red flag if that happens because we broke resistance of 3,700. So right now it's just a clean monthly back test, 2 months down after running to 4,900. Now we're back down at 3,800 throwback, and that's still healthy, especially if we look at it on the 2-week. We have a clean 2-week uptrend. We're just looking for continuation of this trend. And that's also, we want to see ETH and BTC at all-time highs for confidence in the market and alts to really show their hand. So we are remaining patient and working on training our GPT app. This transcript that I'm talking right now ends up being the brains for today's session, and I added some virtual mentors in there that can cross-reference and check our behavioral patterns, trading performance, and match it against their rule set and psychology. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm also running a Python script locally here that I'm still working on, but I want to feed it these transcripts. And when I say I went long at this amount, at this number, or when I say I took profit here, I want it to reference a Binance API and then see if when I entered, were we on the right side of the V? Was the EMAs above or below on the hourly, 4-hour, 12-hour, daily, weekly, monthly timeframes, and then build a model out to see where my performance lies best, if I'm and build a setup chart that we can use to really find our edge and see what is most successful. Because you think that I'm really good at 5 oversold for I'm good at oversold bounces, so I only I wait for 5 oversold, and that's all I play for hourly uptrends. Once there's been an hourly uptrend with like two structure higher highs and lower highs, then I'm going to play that 5 oversold, and that's my cup of tea. But then Once you plot that, you can see if is that actually effective in your head, or is it something you think is effective, and what is your effective rate? Are you only 25-30% effective in that, but you think it's higher in your head? And this is all stuff that I want to really figure out where my strengths lie. Like this AVANT is a EQ on above 4-hour EMAs, but below daily EMA 12, and you'd be able to ask the GPT saying, I play a lot of 4-hour EQs. Are they more or less successful above daily EMAs for my performance that I have plotted over, thousands of sessions, over years, is really the goal over time. But, things have to develop and the system has to be built and then you need to test it and bring data to it. And the new way that you can build a GPT with instructions just gives me these boilerplate templates for starting new conversations within these folders, project folders. That has been kind of the problem I've had with doing this whole process, is that it truncates and overwrites and summarizes and does all these things in my CSV files. So there's no master, because the AI almost thinks it's too smart for its own good sometimes. But having those master files on lock in the instructions file of a GPT app has really kind of been instrumental in my process. And it's kind of the third iteration of trying to make this work as a training campaign that's actually useful and helpful. And the first iteration was just using chats and naming them entries, naming them mindset, naming them morning prep, and then I would just talk to it and hope that would evolve over time. But the problem was it was evolving too much, where I didn't have consistency. I didn't have consistent prompts. I didn't have consistent teleprompts to start a stream. I didn't have consistent topics. And the way I built it now on V3 is we have instructions for when we go live. We have instructions for mentorship and what we're looking to get out of the virtual mentors. We have instructions on setups and really honing the entire thing around psychology more than a hard trading journal. So V2 was just using folders and project folders, and then rebuilding the whole thing from scratch and using CSVs for the first time locally, and then updating those CSVs and feeding it back and forth to GPT was V2. But V3 is using an actual custom GPT, and then using conversation starters with specific instructions and boilerplates, along with files in the instructions that are kind of the master end all. So I have a few files in my GPT library. Like I have a mentorship CSV. I have a daily trade updates CSV, which is just beyond this stream, beyond the YouTube videos. If I have an update on a trade saying I was looking for this to happen this morning, I'm talking right now at 10:40 a.m. And I have an update a few hours, I can just feed it a few little things in GPT without having to make a whole new video and update that CSV in the master, and then it will cross-reference our master sessions, which is what this is, and our daily trade updates, and use them together is all that is. And then we can talk about the double challenge with GPT. So I have the double challenge CSV in there, and it just keeps it in check as far as our risk parameters, risk levels. It keeps in check our risk to reward numbers. It's almost like I could use it as a calculator. So I have this big CSV in there that shows, for example, we're on level 9 right now, and our max risk is $160 for this level. Normal risk is 80, low risk 40, and then if you risked 160, then at 2.75 R it would be 330. At $80, 5.5 R would be 330, and at $40, 11 R would be 330. And then it also shows numbers on 4R, 8R, 16R on the max risk, 6R, 12R, 24R on the normal risk, and 10R, 20R, 40R on the lowest risk. So you can also calculate based on your trade and your what you're trying to set up, what your targets could be based on risk to reward. So when you're pulling your risk to reward tool, when you're trying to eye up a trade, there's more intention behind it because you're looking at most likely scenarios and drawing. If I enter here, I am at a spot that offers me a clear level that I'm wrong. So I use that as my risk to reward, and then I can use my tool to see what do I want to risk on this based on the market in general, market sentiment. Are we trending? Are things heated up? Do we have headline risk? Are we at the end of the month? Are we on a Saturday? There's all these different things that can go into the decision of which risk profile you're using, and then you can drag your tool to where you see that target to possibly be. And I say target like if you're looking at a trade that has an end that you see is like where you'd want to pull most of your profit out because you got to pay yourself eventually, you know. There's also trades that are open-ended in that scenario, but this tool will give you a way of seeing at a glance what your dollar amounts would be based on percentages and risk to reward. It also can like tell me if I say I have my max risk is 160 right here. I want to open a position on Ethereum, and the current Ethereum price is 2,800. I'm at a level that I'm looking for an hourly high or low, so I can define my risk here at 1%. What would my position size be? And it can also help decide position sizes based on the numbers that you have in the double challenge level and max risk. So you would just feed it the risk levels, what tool you're using, what instrument you're trading, and it would help you get the position size, you know. So that was a long way of saying just a position size calculator, but so let's check in here on Biddy coin. So we got a 15-minute uptrend here after these lows were kind of lacking follow through. So we are looking for a 4-hour or an hourly higher low here. Yeah, hourly higher low. And 15-minute was kind of that kind of pattern where the psychology was there, you know. So these things are I can't have too much weight on them right now because of how the market's been trading in general, but if we were to get that could be a way it could shape up. But I'm betting more sideways. Look at this action yesterday in here. This was yesterday. Like go touch grass. It's up, down, all around until we finally got to move down, then up, and now we're doing the same thing again. Looks a lot like yesterday. And as we do this, I think dominance is continuing to go up. Yeah, since open here. Getting a 15-minute stair step going. Send alert at the high. And other names too, like Sui here. Struggling a little bit at that resistance. AVNT is looking nice though. Still have 750 AVNT position. This one moves a lot. Like I remember trading this on the way up, on this move up, and I was trading like 100, 200 AVNT position size, which is like $200. And you could get nice $50, $60 cuts, which is a lot in this challenge percentage-wise for now, you know. But we're not trying to overblow the challenge and trade too large a size to advance too quickly, because we did get a little bit in trouble once we got up towards those high numbers. And I'm actually going to bring the challenge up before we wrap up here. So here's the challenge. And we got all the way up to level 14, which was, we were at $4,000. So the low of the band was 38.30 and the high was 5,110. So we were risking $640 a trade once we got up there. And that was your max risk. Now we're down to 160, 80, and 40. So it's been a humbling experience going from 4,000 down to this 600, but it's literally the process that I built and wanted to stick to because it's a discipline tool. And I have traded freeform for years with balances in 7 figures, and without a system and without this is what I'm trying to say is this is more beneficial to me than all of those even successful years of trading. As far as finding myself, psychology behind it, and having a system of risk. The only thing that I do struggle with a little bit is that this is my main focus now, and I just have spot positions and some long-term stock stuff, which is doing great, but I don't put as much effort into those because I'm really trying to get this to be my main process and scale it over time. And if I'm trading this since July and I'm only at $630, that ain't paying the bills, if you know what I'm saying. If I'm using so I'm just dipping into savings and other accounts that are just in the background to pay as a full-time trader, and monthly stuff. But the idea is that you stick to the system and this scales, and eventually you have enough that you have so much more cushion that you don't have to stress about meeting those goals all the time. But right now it's a little tight, and you have to be on your game, or else you can get demoted and back down here really quickly, and it can be really humbling. But going from $600 to $100 here, if I went from level 9 to level 4, would hurt a lot more than losing 20K in an $800,000 account. For me, anyway. It's just mentally, because you're trying to be so strict with the process and be smart with your trading, I really put weight on it and trying to learn thyself, you know. So that's where these mentorships come in too. It's been kind of cool having a few of them. I have like 4 different mentor models built up, and they're all through different traders. I have like a Jesse Livermore one. I have one for Tom Hugard. I have a TCG one that has some of Joey's mindset teachings in there, and I have one from the Traveling Trader too, which just because there's one YouTube video that he did really resonated with me as far as risk aversion and just thinking differently. But they all have their own different approaches. So like I'm going to upload this script today and my trading, and then it's going to extract my performance of trading, especially once I do a end of day reflection. I'll be able to say how I did for the day, or if things are still going, how things are going. And then I'll be able to run it against that behavioral model. And that will give me, you were more in the mindset of Tom this day because you were thinking differently than the herd, or you were open to all scenarios and you didn't have strict targets, or Joey, which is more like show up every day, give yourself the opportunity to win and flow with the market almost. And then, you know, the Jesse stuff, which is more mindset oriented as well. So interesting how this all develops. But for now, we are at level 9, need 950 to clear this level, and we are currently at, let me see, 642 is our live balance right now. So that is what's going on right now. I'm gonna sign off for now, but like I said, it's Thursday, October 23rd. Time will be telling if this is going to continue, not continue, if this is gonna shake up and crypto heating up through the end of the year, because I was listening to Ben Cohen this morning on my bike ride, and historically in the 4-year cycle, we have topped in Q4 every single time in the post-halving year. So there's a chance that we already topped. This is it. You know, this is your 2017 top right here. This is your 2021 top. And this is your 2025 top, all post-halving year. Or we got to move up to here, here or something, and also crazy until the end of the year, and we all wag me, and then we continue bear market for 2026 is his kind of base case. Is either it's in, but he is thinking kind of next year bear market just based on what's happened in the past, not just guessing. You know, some of these influencers are horrible. Just they have this bias that's not backed up by evidence, and they just think that. But it's a big trend line here now. You know, you have big old rising wedge, and you're kind of testing that right now too, huh? I almost want to leave that. I mean, I drew that, but that's notable. I'm just gonna, you know, what I'm gonna do if this megaphone breaks bearish. I'm just gonna set an alarm to draw a weekly rising wedge, and I will actually put some weight into that. But for now, we're not there yet, so I'm not gonna put the cart before the horse. I'm gonna continue trading what's in front of me, trading setups, and trying to just progress in this challenge. Anyway, feeling kind of positive. Just wish these numbers were bigger. I should have started the account with $100, not $10. But if we get up to those higher numbers, it'd be impressive to say we started with 10. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a good one.